Guys, Ewan here with the Old School Labs, and we are starting this video with a physique update of Regan Grimes, who is prepping for the Mr. Olympia, and it's actually his Olympia debut in Open Division. He already competed in Mr. Olympia, but in Classic Physique, and that didn't go too well. He was a good bodybuilder, even back then. He was a good open bodybuilder, and everybody thought, well, if an open bodybuilder can, cut the weight down and fit in the weight cap, he will dominate any Classic Physique stage, but that turned out not to be the case. Because the other guys also from the Classic are open bodybuilders, many of them, and they all just have to die down, and it depends on, well, many factors, but the criteria in Classic Physique is a bit different than it is in open bodybuilding. Details, the conditioning, that's the most important part, and that's something that Regan doesn't really have, and it hurts him. It hurts him in the open as well. So people are saying, some people are saying that he's not conditioned enough, that he should be dieting harder, he should be doing those low-carb days more than he's doing, but I don't agree with that at all. Take a look at this, for example. Can you see any fat here? Can you see any water retention, subcutaneous? I think he's pretty dry here. He could be more dehydrated probably, but he's lean. Like, there is no fat. He's really, really lean, but the separation is not deep enough. Now, why is that? I think it's just the muscle maturity, or the fact that he was using probably a lot of insulin and the way he's training. James Hollingshead said this in a podcast. Basically, when they were all on stage, it was visible who was lifting heavy stuff off the floor, which basically means who was deadlifting heavy, who was doing some heavy lifts. And it shows in physique, it shows in muscle maturity, in those details, in deep striations that guys like Ronnie or Dorian had. Ronnie not so much, because Ronnie used a lot of insulin. Dorian not so much, and I think Regan did the same thing with insulin. I think he probably used a lot. You can see the way he trains. He pumps the muscle with blood, and it's a good way to grow. He grew like insane, and also with that kind of training, he created a very good mind-to-muscle connection, and so his back is really good. It's really good back, but he doesn't have the details. Even when he's conditioned, he is conditioned, guys. He's lean. Take a look at this one as well. And this one is recent. This is a recent video. Take a look at those hamstrings and the glutes. No fat whatsoever. No fat. No water, really. So what I'm saying is that his problem is not conditioning. He gets pretty darn lean. And here I'm talking about him like becoming the Mr. Olympia winner, or cracking the top 5, top 3 of the Mr. Olympia. Whatever he's doing well for him. He's one of the top bodybuilders, like he qualified for the Mr. Olympia, so he's one of the top 20 bodybuilders in the world right now. So, I mean, in the open division, that's insane. That's something I can only dream of, and you probably. So, it's an amazing achievement, but I'm saying, if he had that grainy look, he would be much better, because he has all the size that he needs. He has the symmetry, he has the lines, he has a small waist, dominant limbs, everything is just spot on. Except for that conditioning, especially from the front. His chest, his shoulders, his quads could be definitely sharper. What do you guys think? Why is that? Is it insulin? Is it muscle maturity? Is it genetics? Not conditioning. I don't think it's conditioning. But what do you think? Mr. Olympia is approaching, and the other guys in other divisions are prepping, such as Chris Bumstead right here, who is 250 at this point, which is crazy, which is a lot. He needs to be like 230, I believe, for the stage, something about that, 225, 230, so he still has about 30 pounds to lose on this, and that just goes to tell you how detailed this guy will be. Here is a shot of his back, and now he's hitting the front, actually back, a lat spread, which is something I haven't really seen him do. I think this is like the first time, probably, I see him do a front lat spread. It's not a mandatory pose in Classic Physique though, and many bodybuilders, many Classic Physique guys are doing other poses that are not mandatory, like Chris. Chris always does a front lat spread, side tricep. Those are not mandatory poses in Classic Physique, but he still hits them because they look very good. He never does this pose though, and can I see why? I'm not really sure, because it looks pretty good here. He's showing a lot of lower lat thickness, and this was the biggest knock. Not the biggest knock, of course, it's always arms with Chris, but arms, like, yeah, it's really good. It creates a really good illusion if you have good arms, but arms are a small body part, Similar like calves, but not that similar. Like, some people don't have calves at all, and some fans are like, How did he win? He has no calves. It's such a small, tiny muscle. The judges don't even bother looking so low. Like, they don't even care about what's going on below the knees. They only care what's going on upstairs. And it's similar with arms. It's not the same, of course. Me personally, I'm having pretty weak arms, and I would love to have huge arms. But I know for the stage, it's not really that important. Back, however, is really important. Not so much in the classic physique as it is in the open, but it's still pretty important. And that's the reason why some people had Breon winning last year. And it's not the arms. That's just the fans that are saying stuff like that. But the judges and like the serious bodybuilders who know a thing or two about the judging, they're saying that maybe Breon should have won because of the back. But it's not bodybuilding, of course. You're taking a look at the classic lines. So, of course, let's not even get into that. I talked about that many times. Chris deserved that victory, but the biggest knock that he probably felt he received was that his back wasn't developed enough. So he really trained it super hard in the off-season. He said that he really focused on that. And I don't know, we'll see how it looks on stage, but he claims that he improved it quite a bit, significantly. Does it look impressive on this photo? Sure it does. But what Breon is looking like right now? Well, based on what I can see right here, I feel like Breon is more impressive. I feel like Breon is gonna win the Mr. Olympia, to take the title away from Chris, to take it back. But it's only based on what I see right now. I know that Chris is gonna just keep looking better and better and better, and I think Breon will just keep getting leaner. Take a look at this vacuum though. Wow, it looks really good. It looks really deep and really good. He should be hitting it. It probably looks better than flex tabs. So based on what I see right now, Breon looks probably more conditioned and fuller, harder, you know what I'm saying? He has that hard, full, shredded look basically already. So he's talking about working on details in the off-season. I'm not sure what he means, because these guys, they reach the weight cap. They cannot really grow any muscle in the off-season. What they can do though is just work on their muscle maturity. Just, keep training and maintaining the weight. And with years of training, your body matures, with age, like fine wine. And you look better and better. And that's what these guys can do. And I don't think they can really work on details, whatever that means. I don't know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I can get the idea of feeling what he feels like it means, but it's just muscle maturity, in my opinion. I think it's just muscle getting older and skin getting a little bit thinner with age. And with muscle standing there for a while, it matures. Yeah, it's hard to explain this stuff, but it's what happens. It's what happened with many bodybuilders over the years. So I'm sure you guys also know what I'm talking about. And what I'm saying is that Chris, he probably was really on a very low dose in the off season, and now he's pushing it harder and harder. And I think Breon was probably, he keeping it moderate, and he's probably not gonna push it much harder. For the prep time, because if he did that, he would probably, fall out of the category, because he's really big right now. So I'm sure Chris will make significant improvements, like really big leaps in terms of his looks for the Mr. Olympia stage in the next weeks. And in the end, it's gonna be tough. But it's still not impossible for Breon to beat him. What am I saying? Of course it's not impossible. Nobody's thinking that. What I'm saying is it's pretty actually likely for Breon to take over, which is really hard to do. Once you lose it, you really need to nail your successor if you want to take it away from him and put him behind you. You really need to nail it. And can that happen for this Mr. Olympia? I think Breon is driven enough to really go to that depth, to really try hard, to dig deep. And will he do it? I think he can. I think he's capable of that mentally. Now, it's going to be all about the genetics, in my opinion. It's going to be about the shape. Who has better classic physique in the end? I think both of these guys are going to look absolutely insane, and they're going to give us a great show at Mr. Olympia. Who will win? I don't know. You tell me. What about this guy? Wesley Vissers. Wow, he looks absolutely amazing in these gym photos. It's different story on the stage though. His high lats and his conditioning and smaller legs hurt him a lot on stage, but in the gym and in these photo shoots, wow, he looks like a probably improved version of Arnold. not really improved. Arnold was, in my opinion, still much better, but like with better triceps and probably better legs. I don't know, they're close, I guess, in that sense. The weight is pretty much similar, but still, even though he looks absolutely insane, he doesn't look as impressive as Arnold. And Arnold had that muscle maturity that I was talking about previously, and I think it's because of the heavy training. I'm not saying that Wesley doesn't train hard, but I've seen his videos. He does not train as hard as Arnold used to, and also I don't think he's training as long. So with time, his body is probably gonna mature and it's gonna look better and better. But take a look at this shot right here, like really aesthetic. Like who wouldn't like to look like this? Arm dominant, chest big and full, small waist, perfect symmetry, round delts. Really aesthetic and classic physique. If the classic physique was more about the golden era type of physique, a bodybuilder, this guy would definitely place much higher, but that's not what classic physique is. Conditioning is a really important factor, but if you talk about aesthetics and vintage genetics, well, like he says, like his brand name is called, he represents that properly. He looks really classic, really golden, right? He looks like a golden era guy. And as far as the big guys, we have a physique update of Phil Heath. This was posted by his wife or fiance, I'm not sure. And it's about, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and he looks fresh. He looks, I mean, it's really similar to what he looked like 2011 when he was at his best. I mean, talking about the skin freshness and that hardness of the muscle, the fullness, you know. If you know what I mean, it's hard to explain sometimes these things, but he looks good. He looks good, and I don't know what he's gonna look on stage. It's all about that hernia thing right now, but look, this is what I heard. I talked about this before, but basically, last time he had a hernia surgery, actually before 2018, Mr. Olympia had a surgery, he patched it up, like, quickly. He was, you know, close to a show, so he had to do it to compete. And it was visible, and that's why he lost, pretty much. Then later after the Mr. Olympia, he had a surgery, a proper one, and he took a year off actually to recover from it. And now, when he recovered, I'm sure he's gonna look much better. And Phil Heath, knowing him, like you guys know him well enough, he wouldn't risk it. He wouldn't compete in Mr. Olympia. He wasn't sure he's gonna beat Brandon Curry. So I'm gonna make a prediction video, but I can tell you right now, I do believe strongly at this point, based on everything I heard and what I saw, that this guy right here is gonna be the next Mr. Olympia. Actually, he's gonna win his 8th Mr. Olympia, tying the record with Ronnie, and possibly a few more after that, for sure. I think so. Because who's gonna stop him? Is there a young challenger, the upcoming bodybuilder who can win the Mr. Olympia? I don't see anybody. Like, there are some guys like Hunter Labrada who have big potential, but yeah, it's still gonna take a couple of years. And the others, like Rolly, like Ramy, like Bonek, Dexter, Sean, and the others, they are all great, but I don't really see them challenging Phil Heath. Brandon Curry, however, he's good. He's really good, and he's known for making improvements. And I keep saying this, this is a factor that I always consider. If he keeps improving, if he improves quite a bit, you know, from last year, he has a good chance of actually holding onto that title. Although I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he can improve that much, because Phil Heath is just different league, different level. If Phil comes with a fixed stomach, at least 20% better than it was in 2018, it's lights out. I don't see how much Brandon can really improve at this point. How much better can he be? And I don't care about his upper body. His upper body looks insane. It looks like if he had matching lower body, I wouldn't even consider Phil Heath. I would consider Brandon Curry one of the best bodybuilders of all time. I would compare him to Ronnie, but with those legs, I mean, legs, man, it's half of a body. It doesn't look very good. I don't like it. I want to see super dominant legs. Like from the golden era, from the 70s and the 80s, my favorite bodybuilder is Tom Platz, because of those legs mainly. So take a look at this. I mean, insane upper body, but legs are lagging. And if he fixes them, if his legs are fixed, he can win, sure. But that's not gonna happen. He's gonna have probably a little bit bigger and fuller legs, but not big and full enough to beat Phil Heath. I don't think so. But who knows? Anything might happen. What do you guys think? Tell me down below in the comment section. However, if you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you want to see more, subscribe. and comment down below once again whatever you think. All the best, guys, and keep it old school.